This is Beto Paredes here with Marketplace Master. We are in our media center for another incredible interview. This one is going to be very informative. We've got probably one of the most knowledgeable speakers in the industry with us here today. He has done a tremendous job assisting thousands of dealers with his educationals, and he's not just an educator, he's actually been a service provider in this industry. In the time that he's worked, he's had over 1,800 dealerships directly as customers. We've got an interesting blend of a very intelligent and capable educator in this space that has a tremendous amount of background and experience working directly on the day-to-day with dealership. Who we have here today is Mike Jackson. For those of you that are familiar with some of his work, he usually packs out his classrooms and his speaking engagements. And lucky for us, he's coming to Marketplace Master. So Mike, how are you today?
I am doing wonderful. How's it going today, Beto?
It is fantastic. I really appreciate you taking the time to meet with us here. What's fun is you're actually in Dallas. And for those of you that are listening and are coming to our show, well, it is in Dallas, Texas. Mike, for you, it's going to be a quick car ride.
Well, I'm really excited to be attending, and thank you guys for having me out there. I'm really excited to come out and be a part of Marketplace Masters. Thanks for having me as an educator. I'm really excited to pass some of this knowledge down to dealerships on the franchise, buy here, pay here, and independent level. So it's going to be really fun, and we've got some great stuff planned for the educational as well.
Well, speaking of education, you've actually been published over 60 times and have appeared in either workshops or as a speaker, and oftentimes as a keynote speaker, over 40 times in the last 10 years. You've actually been a primary driving force, in my opinion, or someone who's had an opportunity and option to really train a lot of dealers. And I have some questions about that. I've got some questions about this educational that you're actually doing with our business, with Marketplace Masters, which we're all very excited about. But I'd like to start off with going a little bit deeper into your background a little bit, talking about some stuff that I think the dealers and those that are listening might found very interesting. My understanding is that over the last 10 years, you've owned and operated a company as a CEO for most of the time and have serviced over 1,800 dealerships, developing websites for them, developing strategies for their search marketing and things that are related to search engines. You really kind of became a major authority. One of the reasons you started to teach was because of the knowledge that you had. Can you tell me about this business of working with dealerships? Let's talk about you working as a service provider to these dealerships. How did that work?
Well, Beto, it's a great question. It's a little bit different depending upon each dealership that you work with. We like to take an education-first approach. It's very hard to offer services or even developing content or website technology for a dealer unless you get a clear snapshot of what it is that they're actually working with first. We believe that first you must analyze, because if you don't know what they're working with and what they're missing, it's pretty hard to tell them where they can improve. And so we like to sit down on a case-by-case study with each dealership, learn their business, learn what their wants and their dreams and their aspirations are. What are they wanting to achieve? What are they wanting to improve above and beyond the obvious of getting them ranking higher in the search engines or dominant presence online social media? Finding out what their goals are, because with every action there's a reaction. These dealers have goals that they want to get as far as numbers of sales, opening up a second or a third lot sometimes. So really analyzing on a case-by-case study with each dealer to find out what their dreams are so we can actually kind of whiteboard all that out and help them achieve those goals. But it's multifaceted. We come in and do an analyzation to find out where their websites currently rank so we can figure out ways to help them improve, writing their content, and holding them accountable and actually teaching them some of the tools and tricks to maintain. So it's not just come in, set this up, and see you later. Working with them on a weekly basis or a monthly basis, they say if you teach a man to fish, he can feed himself for the rest of his life. But if you buy a man a fish, he has a great dinner. And so we like to set these dealers up that we work with for longevity and long-time success versus just a temporary fix to their problem at hand.
From a service point of view, that is such a good explanation of what it is that you guys have done. Really, you've gotten in and worked very close with the dealer. But let's talk about some kind of record-breaking information that I'm at least somewhat familiar with. Even when you guys first started in your earliest days, back when you went to your first convention. I think that may have been in Idaho, the ISIADA. You guys were already getting first page search engine placement, really dozens, if not hundreds of keywords. And now my understanding is over the number of dealers that you've worked with, you've got into the thousands, maybe even hundreds of thousands of top placed SEO terms and words that have continued to rank above Auto Trader listings or Cars.com listings or any of the other major resources. You guys have really seemed to have cracked the code around how to get more than just some placement for a dealer, but a lot of his pages ranked extremely well. I mean, many of your customers I've spoken with in the past have just raved about what it is that they did with you guys. And I know you let all that stuff out. You did a lot of the consulting and even of bringing the sales into the company and those dialogues. Man, how did you guys do it? How is it that you really are, even at this point, still keeping at the level of that expertise and continuing to be able to show that massive results? Like, Mike, what is the secret?
Hard work and due diligence. They say that if you practice something for over 10 years plus, you become an authority. And we've been in the business studying and never stopping developing for over 12 years now. Obviously, the company has been around for 10 plus years, but you have to build your product first before you can actually launch it. So research and development, putting the right team into place, but continually learning, not a situation where you can just keep it the way that it is. The internet and Google are making changes on a weekly basis, it seems like these days. You know, some of the larger updates that they put out are on a quarterly basis. There's lots of upgrades and updates that they're continually putting out behind the scenes daily and weekly. And it's just being able to adapt to the changes, understanding how it works. It's really not that difficult. A lot of the algorithm changes that are out there, Beto, are put into place to keep people that are trying to abuse the system using black hat SEO tactics in order to achieve those short-term goals. The search engines are constantly trying to nix that and make sure that those people who are trying to falsify what they have or using ill-equipped tactics are kicked out of the search engines. If you're following the rules, using white hat SEO, and understanding really what they're looking for, it becomes easy. Obviously, it's something with hard work and due diligence. You're just never giving up, being persistent and creative, testing, analyzation. Every single count that we would put up, Beto, we would actually test, and we would push the envelope and push the limits and see what happens. And if you do over 2,000 case studies, you gain a lot of knowledge back on what works, what doesn't, what you can do, what you shouldn't do, and what is the rules and what are the ways that they're actually allowing and wanting to see the web development happen, and they give you good credit for it when you follow those rules and do it the right way. Can't necessarily give you the exact secret. There's about 192 rules that you need to follow. Giving you an example of just one, properly written metadata. You obviously have to communicate clearly and effectively what you have to the search engines to even be considered as a qualification of a category to be showcased to a potential customer. That in itself is like saying the secret ingredient to the biscuits at Kentucky Fried Chicken is flour. Everyone knows that that should be in there, but those secret ingredients are the ones, it's the combination of everything all together which gives it that number one placement spot in the search engine. The secret, hard work, due diligence, never get up, keep exploring.
I want to stay on that term for a minute because it's just incredible to listen to you talk a lot of times, Mike. I learned so much. And let's talk about continuing to discover things that happen in this world that we're in, this digital social world that we're in, this new frontier. I remember sitting in my office when Facebook, for the first time, actually got more traffic than Google. I've owned a number of different tech companies. At the time, was the CEO of Apogee Invent. I called my partner, and we're speaking about it, and we're just blown away because Facebook beat Google that day. But then it became a race. It was Facebook, then Google, then Facebook, then Google, then Facebook, then Facebook, then Facebook, and we were like, wow, it just took over. I mean, there was not another website that could even touch Google. Any of the other search engines, they were just so far behind. They weren't even competitive. Facebook came and knocked them out. And so here you are, Mike Jackson, in the environment, working with your customers, giving them incredible service for their websites. Suddenly you see this social atmosphere show up, and what do? You become probably the most, I would say, well-received, if not educated, individual in the auto industry, bringing what I would consider to be one of the best keynotes currently out there on millennial marketing and social marketing. And so you take this step from breaking records, as you would say, with what you've done with search, and you've just absolutely created this dynamite path moving through social. And now I'd like to just tell everyone, Marketplace Masters has the incredible privilege of taking this education that Mike's been giving and developing a series, a published series in our Dealer Strength e-zine, where he once a month will go into every concept he teaches and go as deep as he can, more than he's ever done on stage. So hopefully everyone out there, you're paying attention to Dealer Strength e-zine. Mike Jackson's along for the ride with this as an author for the next 12 months, which I couldn't be more grateful for. So thank you. But Mike, let's get into this for a minute. This millennial marketing, this social for dealers, and now you're delivering this in granular fashion in our magazines. Like, where's this passion coming from? What is it with you that's kind of just driven you to master this space?
Well, Beto, that's a great question. When I was younger, I always wanted to be a history teacher. I have a passion for teaching and education. Being in the position I've been in, I've learned a lot over the years, and you pretty much have to explore and through trial and error figure things out. And having that mindset of always tinkering with things, take it apart, put it back together, figure out how it works. I have that mindset with everything we go into. Just a step back here, when we're talking about millennials, it's adapting. And just like I mentioned earlier, never stop exploring. You have to identify in order to overcome. And identifying the market, which is the most untapped into market right now that everyone's trying to figure out, are the millennials. They have a $1.3 trillion a year average spending budget. Wouldn't dealers like to tap into that? If you identify the triggers for a millennial, you can put your products and services out there in front of them in a way that they're absorbed and they can convert into a lead or a sale for your business. But everyone's trying to figure things out because millennials are entitled. They don't like to be marketed to. So how do you market to them? You almost have to market to them in a way that makes them think they found you, even though you put yourself in front of them. And that's what we teach in a lot of the seminars and the classes, is almost a subliminal advertising to the millennials to earn their business and make them think that they chose you and you're not trying to earn their business. But with the 12-course article series that we're doing for Marketplace Masters, the first issue is about Facebook and really trying to target the millennial marketing aspects of Facebook and tap into that for your business. It's about a 2,500-word article, lots of great information in there, from where to find trending topics. One of the biggest things that I see on Facebook with dealers these days is the fact that they don't know what to put. And if you don't have a plan, it becomes difficult. And sometimes people will just sit there in front of their computer and they don't know what to post, so they just put a car up on there. People come to Facebook and consumers come to Facebook to get away from the everyday world and life and catch up with their friends. They don't want to be pitched. The less you pitch, the more you sell on Facebook. In this article, putting together a weekly posting calendar with ideas and topics. For those of you who have your own personal Facebook page, you're probably familiar with Throwback Thursday. That's the day where people post up an old picture that has nostalgia. Well, developing a posting calendar for your dealership of what to do on Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, and actually gathering that information together is something that can be done within several hours, one day. And if it's planned out, it becomes easy. We also talk about social media dashboards, Beto, where you can actually set it and forget it. Plug all this information in, and it'll automatically post it for you. Less work involved with it. We talk about the places to find trending topics online. What's hot now? What's trending? Every time you log on to the computer and go to MSN or Google or AOL, usually you'll see what's important, what's going on, breaking news. This is the information that millennials are trying to look for. So if you can share this through your business page and attract them, you're going to gain a lot better reputation with Facebook and access to friends because of the algorithms in place.
I can tell you, Mike, that in general, the Facebook issue in Dealer Strength is great. You know, you and I share a lot of the same passion there. I've got an article in there as well concerning Facebook because there's so much about it that's beneficial to dealers. But again, one of the things that you are very familiar with, you understand, is algorithms. You've understood them for the search engines, and I know that's kind of a deep study for you even in Facebook. Can you talk to me a little bit about the algorithms of Facebook and how you see that?
That's a great question, Beto. Facebook's actually changed a lot of things over the past year that a lot of dealers and even account holders and users are unaware of. It used to be that when you had a group of friends and you did a post, that post was visible to everyone within your network. A lot of businesses started putting together Facebook business pages from their personal pages. Facebook said, no, you're not allowed to do that anymore. You must create a fan page. We want to see people leaving reviews on your business. We wanted to go out there and scour the world and get addresses and phone numbers and create a directory of businesses that exist on Facebook. One of the changes that they made was that unless you have constant interaction with a fan or a like, they're not going to see everything you just post on your page anymore. Unless you actually engage that customer and get them to comment on you and talk about things together, just because someone likes your page does not mean that they're going to be showcased your product, service, or business. Using this posting calendar with creative ways to engage your customers is one of the best things that you can do. Simply posting cards on Facebook doesn't cut it these days.
That makes absolute perfect sense. And Facebook, it's a favorite over here at Marketplace Master. If you can come to our show in Dallas, Texas, September 7th, 8th, and 9th, we would love to invite you to come and listen to Mike talk. He's going to be there as one of our keynote speakers, which we're, again, super excited about. Besides being in our major easy publication, he's coming to talk to everyone. And Mike's ability to deliver a message of value that you could really take back to your dealership is absolutely second to none. Mike, let's talk about what people might be able to expect from the time they actually spend with you at Marketplace Masters Expo coming up.
Well, Beto, that's a great question. We actually have some very exciting stuff planned for the class at Marketplace Masters. We are doing A to Z workshop, starting at the very beginning, education on from buying the initial URL to your business, proper web publishing procedures, proper web companies to use, the creation of the metadata, which includes the embodiment of the website titles, the keywords, the descriptions, how to maximize those combinations, the content on your website, what it should look like, how much you should have, even calls to action, using certain colors that do subliminal triggering in the eyes of the consumer to get them to convert, proper forms to use on your website, social media. We have a full A to Z class planned, and it's like none other that has been seen in the automotive industry.
That sounds like an incredibly informative time. One of the things I do want to mention as well, everyone, is that we have a workshop our first day. Mike is going to be available for you dealers that come to that first workshop. Well, you can find information about that online, but it's going to be an incredible first day at our show. So Mike Jackson, thank you so much for spending some time with us here. I really do hope that all of you dealers get an opportunity to check Mike out. If you want to learn more about Mike, you can go to our website, click on speakers. He's got a portfolio right there, some information about him and his background. So Mike, we will definitely see you at the Expo. If not before then, you have an incredible rest of your day.
Hey, thank you, Beto, for having me. It's always a pleasure, and I'm really excited. September 7th, 8th, and 9th. We'd like to see all you dealers there. We're going to give you some powerful tools that you can use this year to bring back missing sales to your dealership.
Absolutely, Mike. Thanks a lot. And for all of you listening, please come back to the Media Center. We're putting this media up pretty consistently. I try to get at least one or two up a week. We'll have more people to speak with, more good information on the automotive industry. Thank you so much. And again, come to our show September 7th, 8th, and 9th in Dallas, Texas. You can get tickets right here on our website.